Okay, so I'm here today with Felicia.
Yes.
How you doing, Felicia?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
How old are you, Felicia?
I just turned 42 on the 7th.
42 on the 7th of October?
Yes, sir.
That's cool.
Yes.
Mine was on the 1st.
Nice.
Yeah.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Likewise.
Yes.
So what's your situation right now?
I was born and raised in Colorado, in a small town west of here in West Arvada. Most of my family is from there, but I have a majority of it in Santa Barbara, California. It actually started about 6 years ago now, because my grandpa will be gone in 6 years this August. I was living in West Arvada, and I had to move in with my grandfather, and he had congestive heart failure. He had all kinds of problems. So basically, he was supposed to have his other heart valve replaced at some time, and that's why part of the reason why I moved in with him. But when I started moving in with him, his health started slowly declining. So about in 2017 is when he really got sick. He had over 10 hospital visits because he was on Coumadin, and he's also a U.S. vet. So the VA hospital was keeping an eye on him and making sure his blood levels were correct, but they could never get him regulated. So it was a nightmare. But long story short, he died of congestive heart failure. So thank you so much. But he's in heaven now, and he's not hurting anymore. And so that's a blessing to me in disguise. However, it also kicked me in the ass. Reason being is because shortly after my grandfather passed away, I had literally nowhere to go. Nobody would take me in at all. And so because my mom was the executor of his estate at the time, there was a possibility I could take over the payments for his condo, because the VA also helped him pay for his condo. Right. But unfortunately, my mom didn't allow me to do that. So the house and everything was basically taken out from underneath me. The only thing I got from him was a 2000 Ford Mustang that he paid cash for, and I was so proud of it. But after he passed away, it just really hit me, because he was the only family member that really, God, I don't even know how many grandkids he has either, but the only grandkid that he was ever very close with. So anything I wanted, Grandpa would always give it to me. So, so when he died, I think a part of me died with him, and I slowly went into a deep depression. And I am married. I've been married for 15 years. My husband has had his bouts of alcoholism and drugs his entire life. He still deals with it now at 35, 37 years old. So addiction on his side and my side has never been an issue. My family, I have alcoholism, and my real dad, my biological dad, that unfortunately I was never allowed to meet. The little information that I do know, he was a severe alcoholic, and he was a drug addict. He would take his parents' prescription pills out of the cabinet and either snort them, inject them, whatever. Oh, wow. He was on heroin, coke, crack, and meth. So he was on all kinds of things.
So you don't do any substances?
Unfortunately, I do. So about 2 years ago is when I started. My husband actually introduced me to the drug. And
so you started at 40?
Yeah.
When you started?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I've never touched any drug except for like smoking marijuana, because my cousins do it, and of course it's illegal here in Colorado. So that's the only thing. I was always the one in high school and growing up, like I had friends that did it, and I kind of was like, I didn't shame them, but I also kind of stayed away from it, because I just didn't want anywhere around that.
What did your husband introduce you to?
Methamphetamines. Yeah. He, a few years ago, we started doing cocaine, and because he also dealt it, did that for a while. It was fun while it lasted, don't get me wrong, but then it just became too expensive. I've done acid, I've done ecstasy, which some of the ecstasy out here, I hate to tell you, isn't very good. But even with that, you have to watch out, because it's laced with other things that you really don't know. Fentanyl, and fentanyl is huge out here right now. So I have friends that do it, and acquaintances that do it, but I cannot, for some reason, the smell of it just gives me a migraine, so I can't do it.
I've heard that.
Yeah, so methamphetamines, however, I started out snorting it. It was supposed to be just a weekend thing for me and my husband, and then it turned out to be an everyday occurrence where I was doing it all day. I was up 3-4 times a day, sometimes a week, sometimes 2 weeks at a time. I was hallucinating. I was talking to myself. And when I was in my addiction, or started in my addiction, I was living with some friends from high school. Had my own room. I was paying rent, had a good job, everything. My car, my grandfather had left me, was paid for, so I didn't have any car payment or anything like that. So I didn't have to worry about that. But then when I started doing that, I also had roommates, 2 roommates, two of which were my friends. And one of them is still one of my good friends. And unfortunately, my other best friend, Baker, he passed away in a hit and run accident about 6 months in 2017. So he was killed. They were both heavy users. Sean, I don't know how long he's been, probably for over 20 years, I would say, but he kept it under
Sean
control.
is
My best friend, yeah.
Okay.
I've known him since I was in grade school. Never knew he was addicted to it because he just looked like an ordinary person. Funny as hell, comedian. Loved stand up, but he would never know unless you knew him like I did.
Yeah.
So when I started living with him, of course, my husband would come over and spend the weekend with me or whatnot, and we would smoke, and so then it became a whole group thing, and lost my job. Was working at King Soopers at the time and lost my job. Then shortly thereafter, I lost my car because it was either I fix my car to get fixed or I sell my car to pay for the roof over my head. So I chose option A, to keep my roof over my head. Exactly. And it ended up biting me in the ass. Within a month and a half of me, after losing my car, I lost everything. I lost all my possessions, my jewelry. I had a opal ring that my grandma, I've had for years, gone.
How did you lose that stuff? Pawn shop?
No, actually I went to go party with a friend of mine on the weekend and came back and all my shit was on the curb. Didn't have any freaking warning, no nothing. Just threw all my shit out on the curb and...
You were behind a little bit.
But he knew the circumstances, and it wasn't like I was skipping out on rent on him or anything. I was trying to make up the money as much as I could, you know.
Right.
And he understood because we were in communication. I just felt like he just wanted me out of the house because of our close friend Baker passing away the way he did, and you know, just stupid things. Our friend Josh, which was the house that I lived in, which he owned the house, he actually, believe it or not, he actually got our friend Sean addicted to methamphetamines because years ago he was arrested for a methamphetamine lab here in Colorado. He did some major jail time. Needless to say, nobody was hurt in it, but he has a felony now, so it makes it really hard for him to get a job. But yeah, Sean unfortunately suffered. With that being said, after I lost everything, I literally had 2 bags on my back. That was it, which was all my clothes that I had. I tried salvaging what I could out of what was on the curb. Nobody wanted to come and help me to get my possessions, so I basically had to have it all taken to the dump.
Wow.
Which kind of saddens me because my husband is a tattoo artist by trade, self-taught while he was in prison. And so he had sketchbooks that he's had for years that were in there, gone. He can't get back. I have pictures from my son when he was born. I can't get back. Just little things that are personal, you know, that I can't get back. So after I left there, I stayed on the streets. I think I was out on the streets the first time about 6 months. And my husband knew where I was, and he was living with some friends in a motel. And it kind of bothered me because he was safe and I was out on the streets, but couldn't understand why it was okay for his wife to be out on the streets, but he couldn't be out here with me. And so we kind of got into a fight about that, and I ended up going into a mental institution in Littleton because somebody thought I was crazy and called the cops on me. I was in there for 7 days, almost 10 days when I got released. The moment I got released from there, I started
In
using
jail
again. It was a mental hospital.
Psych ward?
Psych ward, yeah. There was nothing wrong with me. I just have severe depression and anxiety, which I take medication for
They didn't
daily.
put the 5150 on there, did they?
No,
No.
no,
Right.
no. This was volunteer.
Right.
So I kind of basically volunteered to do it. So if it was a judge doing it, then I would have to be there, and then I would have to see the judge, and then the judge would determine whether or not I needed more time, or if I would got released on my own.
Yeah, because with that label on there.
Yeah, you're kind of
that's
screwed.
hard, right?
You're kind of screwed. Yeah. So when I got out of there, I immediately started using again. I do have my husband and I have a 5.5-year-old stepdaughter, and we have a newborn who just was recently born on the 12th.
Where is he at?
He is about an hour away from here. He
And
stays.
the baby?
Oh, the baby. He is currently with her,
Yeah.
the baby mama.
She.
Yes, she lives in Thornton, and she's a great mom. She takes very good care of all of them. She's got 5 kids total, because she's got 3 older ones too. So her plate is full. So when I got released from the hospital, I tried reaching out to family members to see if they would let me stay with them. Nobody would want to have anything to do with me. They basically cut off all ties with me at that point. So I took it upon myself just to disappear for 3 months. And when I did, kind of put my family in a panic because they thought I was dead. My parents, which I have both living parents here in Colorado, and I have a younger brother who's 5 years younger, basically out on the streets looking for me, searching ditches, ravines, calling hospitals, calling the morgues, seeing if they had found my body, because they didn't know where I was. So shortly thereafter, I was out on the streets, and I met up with somebody that I met up at a hotel. He offered me a tent to stay because it was during the summertime and it was warm, so didn't have to worry about blankets or anything. So stayed with him for a while until he kind of started getting fresh with me when my husband wasn't around. He started trying to make innuendos, like trying to make me have sex with him basically. If I would sleep with him, then he would buy me dope to get high. And so I kept denying him, and one night he got really pissed off at me and tried strangling me to death.
Oh, man.
So thank God somebody walked in and heard me, otherwise he probably would have killed me.
Wow.
Shortly thereafter, 2 nights after that, I actually got my husband to come and visit me out on the streets, and it's the worst mistake I've ever had to deal with. He had a warrant out for his arrest that we didn't know about, and the motel that was across the street, somebody had a car stolen out of. So they came and over to the parking lot where we were quiet, nobody knew we were there, unless of course you rolled up on us. They surrounded our camp completely. All we could see was lights. Next thing you know, they're having my husband on all fours with his hands behind his back, telling him to not, pointing guns at him, telling him if he moved, they would shoot him.
Yeah, that was Aurora PD?
It was actually Thornton PD.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know about them, but I know about these Aurora cops.
Yeah, Aurora's not very nice either, but
Yeah, they're not.
my husband is considered a flight risk because he has escaped custody because he spent 10 years in prison.
Yeah.
So he's considered a flight risk, so that's probably not only for his protection, but it's for theirs, because he's a fight or flight mode, basically. He tries to figure out who he's going to take out first and worry about the consequences later. Let's just put it to you that way. He's not a very nice man to deal with when he's upset, but having to see that, he went to jail.
And this is all over a 2-year span.
Mm-hmm. He went to jail, left me all of his personal belongings. I had his bag with dope in it that he was selling, and he knew it was in there. I didn't touch any of it, maybe a couple grams full to use for bowls and stuff, and then the rest of it I just gave away for money so that I had cash on me to go and feed myself or whatever I needed. He got out of jail, and he has an outstanding warrant now, 2 actually, again, because he was stopped about a month ago. They detained him because they thought he had started a fight with somebody, and they detained him, and they found methamphetamines on him. So he's having to deal with that. So after him leaving, we had to move from our camp to another camp off of 104th and Irma, and it was kind of like in a little ditch or like ravine, and there was a river behind it. It was really nice. Wouldn't even know you were there, but mosquitoes and stuff, but it was nice. And stayed there for about 2 months, maybe 3 months, maybe. And then the rains. Yeah.
104th to
Yeah.
where we're at.
Yeah.
How did you guys get over here?
I got over here because, again, my addiction. About 2 months ago, I finally made the decision to go home, and I called my mom because my mom always told me if I needed a place to go, I could always come home. And I kind of contemplated it because, again, with my addiction, I was also in rehab last year. I was in the Salvation Rehabilitation Center in Arvada for women. Was in there for 5 months, and can't say a bad thing about the Salvation Army. The people that run it and how they run it, I don't agree with. But had to go to church every Sunday, read Bible. I had Bible class, study groups, all that kind of stuff. I saw a counselor twice a week because I also realized that I had some really deep issues with anger due to the fact that I am a domestic violence victim. I have been hit 7 times, and that's all because of with my husband currently.
Are you trying to stay clean now?
Unfortunately, right now, after I got out of rehab in May, I relapsed, and I still continue to use, but I'm not. The saying goes, if you've been down the road once, you don't go there again. Mm-hmm. So I kind of have my addiction under control. I know how bad I was back then, and I won't allow myself to go there. And again, I've lost too much. I've lost friends. My husband lost a best friend due to a drug overdose, and just recently he lost another friend due to a drug overdose. So this isn't our first rodeo. This isn't my first rodeo with losing somebody from addiction, unfortunately. It's how it goes, even with alcohol. I've had family members that have died from alcoholism, so it's not something new to me, It
seems like the blues is
The fentanyl out here is very bad. I can't even, me being in the medical field, I have a medical degree. I'm a certified medical assistant. However, I was never able to find a
CNA.
Basically.
All right, that's good.
Yeah, so that was my job, but because of all the domestic violence I've had in my past, there was a possibility I could lose my license. Thank God I have not lost my license. I'm still able to take care of patients or go into a nursing home or even to the hospital and take care of patients right now.
Have you thought about maybe going back into your field and trying to clean up? Or?
I probably won't do it. It scares, no. There's too much temptation, let's just put it to you that way.
Yeah.
With the fentanyl, there's also other things that you have to worry about. You have to worry about morphine. You have to people steal morphine. Morphine is like a drug too. It's a prescribed substance that a doctor has to give you. But morphine, I've seen morphine being used out on the streets. Oxycodone, Percocet, anything you can get your hands on that they can sell and you can make money off of, that's what's out here. But with the fentanyl is now coming from Mexico. So if the fentanyl is 10 times lethal, if not more, than it was years past, because years past they could just be able to take a sample of it and be able to test whatever it was cut with. Now it's being cut with possibly rat poison, bath salts, cocaine sometimes. I've heard it's being cut with cocaine, heroin. So you really don't know exactly when you're taking that puff of fentanyl exactly what you're getting. You could be getting a whole combination of things, which with fentanyl is used in hospitals to slow down your heart rate after you are in a medical induced coma. And that's why they want you under medical supervision, is so that they can watch your vital signs and they can keep an eye on your heart rate. It lowers your heart rate, like I said, it lowers your body temperature, everything. So at any second, at any point, depending on how much you're using, it can stop your heart just like that, without even a second thought. Methamphetamines, I've seen, I hate to say it, my husband, gosh, this is now 2022, he almost died of an overdose 2.5 years ago. Not purposely. He was just using and snorted it and had way too much, and next thing you know, his heart stopped. If his little brother had not come in and found him, he probably would not be here today. And I can guarantee you that he had quite a bit of methamphetamines in his system. How he's even alive today is a miracle, and it's yeah, I can't even imagine. I still have issues with that because I had an intuition that something was happening because we had kind of gotten into a spat and we broke up, and I went and got my stuff, and I kind of knew something was wrong, and I should have gone in there to check on him, and I didn't, and there he was. He was dead, basically, not alive.
How old?
My husband is now 36. This was when he was 34. He still suffers from addiction now. His mom was an alcoholic, a severe alcoholic, bad alcoholic. I think the first time he tried drugs was when he was 9 years old, snorting coke with his mom. He's done heroin, he's done crack, he's done black tar heroin, you name it, he's tried it. But all that other stuff, the heroin, anything like that, he won't touch. Even it's the needle thing, because he can't stand needles, but he does tattoos. And I think it mostly has to deal with his best friend, because his best friend, Colin, 25 years old, wow, gosh. Now I just thought about it, 3 years ago, this month, he passed away from a heroin overdose. And he was in rehab trying to get himself well. I think that was about his 7th time in rehab.
Let me ask you, I always ask everybody at the end of the interview, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Sure as hell not out here. No, these streets, these aren't anything nice, especially for a female such as myself. Me personally, I've been raped almost 3 times. I've had my stuff stolen. I've been beaten up. I've been threatened. I've had a gun held to my head. If there's something that somebody else wants, they will do whatever they want to you to get what they want. Drugs included. It doesn't matter. So for a female, it's harder to protect themselves. For a male, for some reason, males have it easier. They can protect themselves, they can fight, they can do whatever they need to protect themselves. Us females, we're vulnerable. They see a single female out on the streets and they think they can take advantage of them whatever possible way they want. If it be, drug trafficking, if it's, getting them all doped up, and selling them on, whatever.
Do you carry anything for protection?
I carry a blade on me, a straight razor blade, yes. And thank God I have not had to use it, but I have used it on myself. Tried committing suicide, so unfortunately, it's not something I'm proud of, but it is who I am today. It's made me who I am today. Do I regret it? Absolutely, because I have 42 years old and I have a 21-year-old son who is
Have you had enough, baby?
He should have never had to see me like this, and unfortunately he's seen me. He's also seen bruises on me, which no child, I don't care who it is, should ever see their mom having bruises on them. And I'm proud of him. He's going to school right now, graduates this year with his criminal justice, bachelor's in criminal justice, and he is going to be a police officer. And I think part of the reason why is because his biological dad and I haven't seen his dad in 4 years, maybe longer. Last time I saw him, he was bad. He was doing some heavy drugs. I don't know what he was into, but bad enough to make him literally look like a walking and talking skeleton. Let's just put it to you that way. So his dad and I both have addiction on both sides, and unfortunately, and by the graces of God, he has not gotten any of those traits. And I think it's because he doesn't want to go down that path. I think he's scared. But right now, I don't have any contact with my son at all. He's basically cut off all communication with me. He's blocked me from all social media. He's blocked me from calling him. That includes my family. I have four nephews, I'm sorry. One of which is currently a U.S. Navy sailor in Texas. Don't have any communication with them. My younger brother has basically written me off. He doesn't want to have anything to do with me. Last communication I had with him was basically to tell me that if I came anywhere near my mom's house, that he would fucking put a bullet in my head and kill me. So I do have, my grandma's still alive. She lives in Arvada. She's lived there for over 32 years. In the same house I grew up in, the same house I brought my son home from the hospital. I know it's killing her to know that I'm out here and not know where I'm at. But it's the choices that I've made and the decisions I've chosen to make. This isn't my first time being homeless. This is actually my second time. But this time, I have a little bit more to live for. I have a brand new son who just came into the world on the 12th. So I have a little bit something more to live for. I also know how precious life is, that at any given moment it can be taken away from you just like that. Snap of a finger. And I also know that if I don't watch what I'm doing and I don't take care of myself, and especially mental health out here, yeah, you're doomed. If there's nobody out there that's wanting to help you, you might as well just write off yourself, because nobody wants to help you. Unfortunately, mental health and addiction goes hand in hand. You can't fix one thing and not fix the other. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, if you fix your addiction, you still have the mental health problems. So me currently, I'm going to therapy again because of the trauma that I've been through in my past. And just being out here, the things that I've seen, my friends that I have made friends with, they don't have it easy out here as well. None of us do. But I've found that out here, being out on the streets, people are more real out here than anywhere. Alcoholics, drug addicts, they're all the same. We tell it like it is, and it is what it is. We're all family because we all go through the same thing every day. Addiction, mental health, depression, anxiety, whatever it may be, we all go through it on a daily basis. But somehow we're trying to survive, and we're doing it together as a family. The friends that I have made out here are my family. Doesn't matter if they come from another family or not. They're my family. They're my friends. They consider me family, so I consider them family. And I will protect them, and they will protect me at any given cost. Where we're at right now is not a very good area. I can guarantee you that right now. There's been a lot of strange activity around here, and it bothers me as a female to walk around without anyone around, because God only knows, you could be snatched and gone. The police department here doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, they're right down the
We're
street.
the number 4
literally right down
city
the
for
street.
sex trafficking.
And we're number 4 for sex trafficking. For some reason, in the state of Colorado, they love the homeless women. If they have a specific type and a specific model per se, they will target you, and they will do whatever it takes. I've seen it. Strange cars, vehicles, vans pull right up to you and snatch the girl, and off they go. They're being taken anywhere. So I have friends that have been trafficked. I'm not going to go into specifics, but some of their stories are pretty in-depth and pretty sad. The things that these poor girls have had to be subjected to. And unfortunately, some of these girls end up dead. They take everything away from them. Their identity, their money, if they have money, strip them of their clothes, anything like that. They're gone. Around here, I haven't ran into it yet, but you never know. But for my protection as a female, the girls that I have around me that are my friends, we never go anywhere without each other. And if we're alone, there's always a male that's armed with us at all times. And yes, I'm very cautious and I'm very aware of my surroundings. Call me paranoid, whatever you would like, but I
Just
know,
being safe.
yeah, it is. It's to protect myself and to protect the people around me. That's for sure.
Well, Aisha, I want to thank you for your story and thank you for your time. And hopefully somebody that sees this on YouTube, can learn from your story and help them in your story.
I just want to say one last thing, that if anybody's suffering from mental addiction or any addiction at all, please reach out and get the help that you need. There are people out there that are willing and have huge hearts that are wanting to give you that opportunity, but you have to be the one to reach out to them and take whatever help is available. Take it from me. I'm a recovering addict. I am still an addict. I will be an addict till the day I die. I've been there, so I know. If I can do it, someone else can do it. So.
Thanks, Aisha.
Thank
for
you.
your time. Do you have a problem with me uploading this to
No,
YouTube?
absolutely not.
Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate
you. Have a good day.
it. You too.